Okay, so let's again start with it. But this time, instead of $1,400, you have $3,500 to spend. And you have to spend that money onto a Apple has just released the Apple Vision Pro, and it's approximately 2.5 months, and they have released out a new latest update, which is Apple Vision Pro 1.1. So there are a lot of things in which Apple is far beyond the limits in terms of meta, just like in VR. They have just entered the market, but the demand of that particular Apple Vision Pro is much higher than the Meta Quest 3, which has not been released yet. So why Apple is been acquiring the market even if it's just like released out half a month later? It's because a few of the things, just like the display of Apple Vision Pro is far beyond the meta. It's just like 3000 approx pixel per inches, which is pretty solid. Okay, let me give you an example. Your phone, on which most probably you are watching this video right now, have 3 times less pixel than that particular Apple Vision Pro. And it's a clear cause. Your eyes are more far beyond that Apple Vision Pro. You can see vast majority of contrast, colors and etc., which Apple haven't reached yet, or the entire technology of this earth haven't just like gone on to that particular limit. Okay, there are a lot of things to consider in terms of VR or AR. If I eventually gonna give you today the VR headset and wanna use, I will say that you have to use it for rest 30 days of your life, or just like the months, including the current time which you're watching this video. It's just like you're taking a phone close at this angle and watching that particular movie or watching that particular video. It's very hectic. But in terms of Apple, it's completely different. You see, Apple have a very clear-cut technology about the displays of every individual's, just like iPhone, just like MacBook, just like iMac, or whatever you want to say. So that case also applied in Apple Vision Pro. If you use Apple Vision Pro for more than 2 hours, you will not feel any kind of headache or something like that, because the Apple Vision Pro transparency mode, or you could say that the clear-cut vision of that Apple Vision Pro from your eye to the display, and again the reality world or the three-dimensional world is so less. It's approx, Apple says it's approx 12 milliseconds response time of your each pixels acting on to that Vision Pro. So it's just like 12 milliseconds for bouncing the light onto that Vision Pro screen, and then again reflected to your eye and your brain applying that signal. It's about 12 milliseconds. There is one more particular thing applied in every individual company who just like wanna make the VR headset or AR headset and have made the VR headset or AR headset. You see, MetaQuest 2 released 3 years later after MetaQuest 1 came into the market. That's the probability thing. If you have just like made the Apple Vision Pro, the next version of it, there is nothing, just like you introduce the camera bump, you reduce the camera bump, you add action button and introduce as a new phone, or introduce, just like if it terms of Apple Vision Pro, you introduce a new shutter button right over in front of your eyes and you make it as Apple Vision Pro 2. It's not like that. You have to wait for individual years, just like 5 to 6 years. It depends on which Vision Pro can do, but Quest are more likely cannot do it. So Apple just said they use that 4K display in front of your screen, or what you're viewing as actually, with the help of the 360 camera vision. But that 4K image in front of your eyelids, and with that 90Hz display, so Apple is currently using that 90Hz displays in the Apple Vision Pro. So that 90Hz display is actually running onto your front of your eyes. Actually, so that much big amount of screen with that 90Hz is not possible for today's standards technology. So what Apple did is actually the point where you are actually seeing or watching, they have just focused on to that particular object, and the rest of the backgrounds are being blurred. Not proper, but yeah, it's just like eyes working like an eyes. So our eyes also works with that same phenomena or method, whatever you want to say. But there's the thing, Apple haven't just like yet came into a market for much more longer period, so it's just like 2.5 months. but they have covered a vast majority of the area in terms of marketing demands, in terms of user base experience, in terms of display size, in terms of 360 camera surroundings. One more thing, persona. There's the thing, if you just like opens a window onto one of the side of your screen and the other side, there are a lot more windows which you could open at the particular time, and you could just like drag it on, the shadow has been cast there, a lot more thing about it. And yeah, at the end we leave on to the conclusion that yeah, Apple Vision Pro is far beyond the metaverse, or you could say the MetaQuest. But MetaQuest is not actually far beyond the Apple. They are also coming closer, they're developing themselves, they're introducing themselves, but the main factor is how much time you will spend for the introducing of new technology. So MetaQuest 3 we are yet waiting for, and Apple Vision Pro 2 we cannot configure it out. We just usually think it will come 2 to 3 years after the Apple, or we could say the time when Apple Vision Pro 2 will release, there will be iPhone 19. I just think so. But the thing is, focus on one thing. The Apple Vision Pro is 3 to 5 times more costlier than MetaQuest 2. So remember, and yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoy. Keep vibrating just like our quads. Take care. Bye.